Good morning. This is
Welcome to the Sports Break. I'm Renee Washington, joined by Kwame Fisher-Jones. And as always, well, today's Tuesday, first of all, so happy Tuesday. But as always, we are going... Tuesday. Tuesday doesn't get enough love.
It should.
It doesn't.
It's Tuesday.
Mondays and Tuesdays get overlooked.
Prior hump day. Anything pre-hump, you don't worry about.
Yes, once you make it to Wednesday, you're coasting to the weekend, so it's good. That being said, there is a lot going on in the sports world, as always. And one kicker in particular that we talked about before, University of Central Florida kicker, Donald De La Haye, he was under heat because he has his own YouTube channel that generates money.
I'm sorry.
I feel like I'm saying
it's
wrong.
very immature, but it's a funny name. It's a very funny name. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
He was under heat because he has a YouTube channel that generates income. And as a college athlete on a scholarship, you cannot have any source of income. Credit cards, jobs, anything.
Yeah.
So as of this past weekend, he has been ruled ineligible to play football because he decided that he wants to keep his YouTube channel in order to provide for his family back home. So what are your thoughts on him being, kept out of playing football because he's trying to do something for his family and also having a YouTube channel?
First of all, good morning as well. These are two heavy topics. The one before this and the one after are very heavy topics because my feeling on college sports in general is the athletes, like it has long run its course. Athletes should be compensated. There should be a hierarchy. I understand that you can't pay female lacrosse as much as you can play a football player. I get those things. But the bigger issue I have is Alabama is one of the poorest states in the union. Has one of the worst education systems in the union. And Nick Saban is his highest paid employee.
Right.
That money should not be going to a college football coach. That money should be going to the state, the education system, specifically in the urban areas in which the colleges are located. Auburn is like, I don't know if you've ever been to Auburn's campus.
No, but...
It's like a world unto itself. And for those of you who don't know, Auburn's in Alabama. Beautiful campus, technology. You go 20 miles outside of Auburn, it looks like a third world country.
Yeah.
It's time now for that money to be reinvested into the communities.
Right.
It's time now for the players that come, and not all players come from impoverished areas, but all players don't come from great suburban areas either.
Right.
It's time for that money to go into the cities and to go into the education systems where these kids are coming from. Because the fact of the matter is, if you don't want to pay the athletes, that's fine. If you want to keep the contracts and scholarships and give them more per diem, that's fine. But that money's not going to Mike Krzyzewski and Nick Saban.
And that is something that you see a lot of those SEC schools, especially the schools that are right in the middle of the country.
Mississippi.
Yes, those are schools that are, their college campus is gorgeous because they have big football programs, they have good basketball programs, so they're bringing in that revenue to be able to build up the school. But what about everybody else? What about the people in the community? I didn't even think about them. I was thinking more about the players and their families.
Well, think about this.
You bring players in, you give them all this money and stuff.
Think about
what
this
about their
too.
families?
Most of the kids that go to these schools, let's say Miami has 30,000 students, right?
Right.
And let's say 10,000 graduate. Those 10,000, how many work in Miami?
Yeah.
How many put money back into the city of Miami?
Back to wherever
so I don't mean, I know you were three-time All-American with a master's degree. I threw that out there. And you were also a high-profile college athlete. So I know for you don't see it from that side, but as a person who has mentored these kids who came from an impoverished area, who always argues with people about how bad the city of Camden is, and it's not as bad as people say. It infuriates me when I hear an athlete finding a way to generate income legally.
Yes.
And they take it away from them.
Yes.
And how much is that coach getting paid? Because these college coaches, you're talking high six figures. You're not talking 100,000.
They get six figures just for winning a Rose Bowl championship games. They're getting bonuses that are six figures. I mean, they're making hand over fist?
They're making too much damn money.
Making too much
they
money
can't put it in
their
their
athletes.
pockets.
And you know what? I will take it one step further because I am someone that's in that different type of Division I athlete profile where you have the ones that go on to play professional sports. And yes, I did go that route for a little while. But those of us that end up getting right into a job right away, I was able to work 7 internships while I was in college. But I had to go out of my way.
7 internships?
Yes, I did.
It's Jamaican in you.
I had had to go
I got her to lighten up a little bit. She
I had to
smiles
go
so
out of
tight
my
this
way
morning.
to work those internships, and it was very tough because I was a student athlete and I was running track and playing soccer, and I was a Division I athlete. But you don't get those opportunities, and I know so many athletes that I'm friends with that are like, what do I do now? How do I get a job? I played basketball, soccer, football, whatever sport, 4 years. I wasn't able to get any work experience like my classmates were that were on the TV station, that were on different things, getting involved in the community. I wasn't able to have those opportunities because my job was playing my sport. And now I graduate and maybe I don't make it to the professional route, or I play professional sports and it's not as high paying like soccer. What now? So you have both sides of it, because some of those athletes that they bring into these big schools, they end up going to play professional football or basketball, and they make good money, and they can now get back to their family. Or they go overseas and they make good money. Some of them go the route of doing illegal things to get money, and it's under the table. So why is it that doing something good, legal, for your family to make yourself better is seen as such a bad thing when you're just trying to help yourself out?
The biggest thing, the thing that infuriates me the most, it's like our cameraman trying to keep me in one shot. I move all around. The thing that infuriates me the most about it, though, is it doesn't make sense. Like, this is they'll borrow a line from one of my favorite movies, Coming to America. This is America, Jack. This is not a communist society. Like, the football program drives colleges.
But the players are driving the football program.
And I was just about to say that. And the players are helping each other. The better your football program, the more female, male, less revenue generating sports are able to come. So you can have a female bocce ball team because you have a number one ranked football team.
Title IX.
So, but you said, but it's not even about, like, yeah, you're right. Legally they have to have it, but it's the opportunities that it presents, and the only ones who are eating big are these coaches. And when these guys graduate, they hit hard times. You know, Calipari has a great line. He's got a private jet. He's got a six-figure. His car's worth 6 figures, which he probably never pays for. Probably never pays for anything when he goes out to eat.
Really dry.
He tells a story. He goes, yeah, I go to this kid's house and I look around and I go, what's not going to be like this for long if you come to Kentucky? Are you kidding me? You've got at least 2 houses, vacation spot, and you've got the gall, the man parts to walk into another man's house and say, it won't be like this for long. It shouldn't be like this for long. It shouldn't be. Kids should be able to do what they want. You know, and I say let the boosters in. Let the boosters pay for them. If boosters want to give a kid $5 million to go to their school, let them do it. And let them sign a contract that lets them say, you know what, if I choose I don't like Alabama and I want to go to Temple, I'm going to do that.
Well, before we move on to the next topic, it just is odd to me that as a young man or woman, you cannot even provide for yourself as a Division I athlete. Essentially, that's what it comes down to. You can't have a credit card, like I said. Your only source of income comes from meal money that they give you. And some schools give more meal. I mean, ours was like $20 or whatever. Some schools give more meal money because they know you're not getting money.
Alabama ain't giving enough money to those
And then some players get like refund checks, but it's not a job. You're not making money essentially. And so now you're going to college to get more knowledge, as the rhyme goes. You're getting a degree. You're trying to make money. Some people have kids. You're trying to support your family. How are you supposed to do that if your whole job is playing a sport and you're not getting money from it? Yeah. So that being said, we're going to go to a quick break. When we get back, we will talk about the answer to all this. Not the answer to the football, the answer.
It's going to get ugly.
We'll be right back.
Good morning. This is Scott Tanker, host of Breakfast with the Boss. We're part of the morning show. Our show is 9:30 to 10 a.m. each and every Thursday. Info at radiovisionnetwork.com is how you get a hold of us. And why would you want to do that? Because you want to be on this show. We talk about all sorts of businesses. We interview bosses in their small and medium-sized businesses. We ask them why they're so passionate, why they do what they do, and we find out why they're so darn good at what they do. You need to be with us each and every Thursday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. on radiovisionnetwork.com. Please contact us. We'd love to have you on the show. There's no cost, there's no obligation, there's no pressure, but we really want to help you. Get a hold of us now. Info at Radio Vision Network.
Most of the time, it's easy to know which option is better. Other times, not so much. So it's good to know that Mazola corn oil has 4 times more cholesterol-blocking plant sterols than olive oil. And a recent study found...
All right, welcome back. We were talking about University of Central Florida and how their kicker is now ineligible because he has a YouTube channel that generates revenue. Well, there is another player, or I should say retired player, that is still getting in trouble, and that is Allen Iverson. Well, he's not in trouble. I won't even say all that. Allen Iverson did not attend the last Big 3 game in Dallas. He, as we already know, did not play when the Big 3 came to Philadelphia. He wasn't there. He did speak on the microphone, but he did not play. And the following week, he did not play in Chicago. And then this past weekend, he just didn't show up altogether.
He has only played, to my knowledge, he's only played 1 game.
No, 3 games. But I have the numbers. He played 3 games and played for a total of 27 minutes and had scored 6 points. That being said, what are your thoughts on Allen Iverson? Because from what I understand, you had a lot to say about AI.
You know, I gotta rub my finger. These are pressure points. You rub your finger to keep you calm down so I don't go Michael Vick Rand here. I'm Virginia boys. Allen Iverson, when does it stop? It doesn't. And I think in my lifetime, there has been no more disappointing. There's never been a more disappointing athlete.
Okay.
No, there hasn't been a more underachieving athlete. I don't understand how God can touch you and give you so many gifts, and you work so tirelessly in destroying those gifts.
Yeah.
And it's painful. It does. It's like sitting doing a number 2 for a long time. Like by the time you get up, it hurts. But yeah, it's like your cheeks are numb, your knees hurt.
Your legs are to sleep.
But it's the truth. It
is. That's a weird way to put it, but it's actually. It's a good point.
You've relieved yourself, and it hurts to relieve yourself. But in 2-4 minutes, you feel 5 pounds lighter. And this is what it is with Allen Iverson. I could go to the story. You know, I'm a Sixers fan, Allen Iverson fan. I can tell the story of Kobe Bryant when he played in high school, how the Sixers were tanking to get Kobe Bryant with John Lucas. They're going to get Kobe and Allen, and things were going to be great. And then Pat Coachy comes in, fires John Lucas, and they draft Allen Iverson. He may have been the worst number 1 pick of all time.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, you wouldn't go that far because other guys didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah, because at least he had good years. I mean, you think back to 2001 when they're playing the Lakers in the NBA championship, and he carried that team.
Okay, so he had 1 good year.
No, that's just 1 good year as an example. But Sixers, I mean, when you look at the Sixers, he gave them hope. Philadelphia
hope leaves when reality walks
needed
in,
him to step in. You had the Dr. J era, you had the Will era.
No, he's not in that group.
He's not in that group. He came in to help. As a small point guard, he changed the look of point guards. You have to go that far. You have to agree with me on that.
I adore you. You know you are my ace.
They still compare point guards to AI to this day. Kyrie Irving,
because it's a lie.
Them to him.
Don't accept the mediocrity.
His statue of how he came into the game was able to change. Yes,
no, don't change the rules. Hold on. So he's impressive to you. Because he's the 3-legged dog that made it across the street.
He's impressive to me because there's more to being a good player than just stats and everything. And yes, he had his off-court drama. But he's a player that, how many kids looked up to him? I know my little brother was walking around the headband, the wristbands, the elbow bands, the jerseys.
And they shouldn't have.
They're not disappointed
They should be.
Because in reality, AI, for the chunk that he was at his peak, he gave everybody something that was exciting to watch. And if you look,
only
he's
in
still
Philadelphia where championships don't matter.
He's still considered one of the most entertaining, talented players to watch in sports.
He was
he brought that flavor.
Traffic accident that you couldn't take your eyes off.
But he still brought something to the game.
But what he brought, What he brought, I'm returning to the store with coupons still wrapped up. Look. I want championships. I love greatness. I want to win. And in Philly, they don't want to win. And you're going to get mad when I say that, but it's the truth. That's why the Eagles are sold out for years and never won a Super Bowl. In Philly, all they want is for people to talk about them, and Allen Iverson did that. But when you pull the layers back and look at it at its core for what it was, he was a guy who didn't make the most of his ability. Kids loved him because he was their size, not because no one cheers for Goliath.
other side.
No one cheers for Goliath, but it's the truth. He's barely what? I think he's barely 6 feet.
Yeah.
He's barely 6 feet. I want to say he's closer to 5'10". Haven't seen the eye or what, but I'm saying he's closer to 5'10". The fact is, this is another example. You know, when he did the practice run, I remember watching that, and I remember talking to the person I was with at the time.
Still a famous brand.
I said, "This is it's infamous. It's not famous. It's
is.
infamous. This is a disaster. He's gonna get kicked out of a recreational CYO league. What more do you need to accept that this dude is not what he's been made to be?"
Here's what I think it is, and I agree that AI's career ended up as a disappointment.
As a coach, how infuriated would you be to work with Allen Iverson?
I would. Oh, yes.
Exactly.
But here's what I would say. I think that Allen Iverson stepped into these shoes that he was not able to fill. He was a player that was barely 6 foot. He was a player that his jerseys were sold everywhere. Everybody was buying AI jerseys, sneakers. I used to love that. Okay, but wait.
Stuff.
No, not like AI. But I think that he just was not the personality to be able to handle that. And that's where he dropped the ball, because he wasn't able to show, you know what, I can go to games and I can go to practice and get my teammates better. I can show up on time. He was never that player, and I think that's where you're disappointed, because they couldn't turn that corner and win a championship because AI never had that type of commitment to the game. He loved basketball. He just truly loved basketball. But he didn't love it in the sense that he was able to commit to being and following all the rules and expectations of everyone.
I'm getting ready so I can get
so
my
we're moving on.
Stance. No, I just want to say this. You use the phrase hope. It's time for reality to walk in and hope to be removed when it comes to Allen Iverson. Floor is yours, Ms. Washington.
Moving on. Speaking of hope, soccer.
Oh, Lord. Hope Solo?
No.
I was going to buy a Hope Solo poster, and then when I was bringing her up, some of her other extracurricular activities came up, and I said, I don't think Renee would like a Hope Solo poster, so I won't do that.
So, soccer, as we have talked about on the show, is a sport that is overlooked, sadly. And I hate to say that as someone who
overlooked in America.
In America, okay. Yes. As someone who played soccer, coached soccer.
Great big world out there.
Yes. But to everyone else in the world, soccer is very popular.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest sports that you see kids playing in the streets, in their backyard, anywhere. But in America, you don't get that as much. So, it's been an exciting week for soccer. The U.S. Women's National Team, and I know you hate when I say exciting with soccer.
I think it's
for
just
some
funny.
reason. The U.S. Women's National Team was down 3-1, and anybody that has ever played soccer knows that a 2-goal lead is a deadly lead, because that next goal is the most important goal. And the U.S. Women's National Team, I'm just going to ignore you, scored 3 goals in 9 minutes. 3 goals in 9 minutes.
Oh, wow. Is that a
to
record?
win 4-3 over Brazil.
Is that a record? What, it was Brazil?
It was Brazil.
Oh, wow. I missed that.
And
Can't miss Brazil.
Surprise. And then
Can't miss Brazil. The female Brazil soccer team? That's worth the price of admission.
In San Diego. Now, that was Sunday. The day before in Miami, we had the biggest names from around the world come play in Miami. And you might know some of these names. Neymar. Cristiano Ronaldo did not show up.
Who?
But Cristiano Ronaldo? You know who that is?
Yeah, I know who that is.
I know you know who that is. Real Madrid and Barcelona faced off in Miami. It was exciting. It was sold out. Prices were up for like thousands of dollars to buy these tickets. And they made billions of dollars off of this event.
That's where
because
AI
you had Messi there, you have Luis Suarez there.
Messi, this is a good chicken dish in a Italian restaurant. Yes, I know it is.
Oh my God, I was about to.
Dish. I want the Messi with extra Parmesan.
No, stop.
It does.
Stop. How would you feel if someone said I want the Kwame with extra Parmesan?
Kwame doesn't sound like an Italian
Well, to
dish.
someone it might.
No.
Anyways, you're sidetracking because you don't like soccer.
I'm not, but that's
that
not true.
being said, in this past week we had Brazil. PSG and Juventus play on Wednesday. That game was won in the final minute with a penalty kick, which if you have ever...
That's what you were good at, right?
Yeah, I took the keys.
I pay attention. Yeah, it was nice on the penalty kick. And she throw an elbow.
But that's like winning a basketball game with a free throw in the final minute.
That's not exciting.
In the final second, I'll say.
A free throw in the final seconds is not exciting.
Are you kidding?
No.
Someone makes a free throw.
No, I want to see the motion. I want to see Kobe hit a fadeaway elbow jumper. You know who I wouldn't see? You know who I've never seen at a game winner? Oh, that's right. He's only hit one in his career, Allen Iverson, in the Olympics. The ones where they finished with the bronze medal. Go ahead. You see how that did
What I was going to say is, here we have the biggest names of soccer in Miami.
You get so sensitive.
The women's national team, I mean, despite a tough game with some injuries and everything, they win that game. Is this starting to, get the ball rolling for change for soccer, you think?
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I think you're too hard on soccer. And the reason why I say, you can side-eye me if you want. The reason why I say that is there is something to be said about enjoying the confines or being successful in the confines of the system that you're in. It's like if soccer is only appreciated by 10 to 20 people, that's fine. Enjoy that. Don't get caught up in what you're not. Enjoy what you are. Just hold on. If you go to around the world, people love soccer. That's better than, Tulsa, Oklahoma or Toledo, Ohio giving you praise. A whole country loves you. Think about that. A whole country loves you.
All right, try telling the U.S. women's national players that you shouldn't be upset by the fact that nobody in your country really watches soccer, so therefore you don't have the revenue and the sponsorship that you need, so therefore you get paid probably less than like a teacher, but the rest of the world loves you. Is that just...
They can play for some of the female
and that's
teams.
what they have. That's what they had to do. They had to go leave the women's league to go play overseas.
I understand, but I think that, and not just you, but I think in general, people tend to get caught up in what's not there instead of what is there. It's like kind of like, how your grandmother used to say, "Baby, the glass is half full, it's not half empty." Enjoy.
I'm just kidding.
Your grandmother
sang Tinky Winky.
Your grandmother sang Tinky Winky to you.
My grandmother.
Okay, your mother sang Tinky Winky to you. So the whole point was they tried to focus on the positive.
Those my grandmothers. Talk about them.
I can't do it with her this morning. I can't do it with her this morning.
What I'm saying is, I just think it's great that Americans are starting to realize even more the beauty of soccer because you know what? At the end of the day, it comes down to fans.
It's an abstract
It comes down to fans. And if fans are watching, if fans are engaged, it makes your experience as a player better. And that's partly why I stopped playing. You don't want to go to a game. You're supposed to be Carly Lloyd. You're supposed to be a top player. And I was not on that level. But you're supposed to be a top player that's seen throughout the world as being a top player. Yet, when you're in your own stadium, the crowd is empty. That hurts, and you don't understand that because you never played soccer. You played football, and that's a sport where and basketball, sports where everybody's throwing out your resume. But for a soccer player to play a sport that you love and not have that following, everybody's good at badminton. To not have that following is tough to deal with. And they're trying to change that because they want to change the salary behind it. They want to change the excitement behind it. The experience. You don't get that professional experience as a soccer player when you don't have a stadium, you don't have gear, you don't have fans cheering you on. You don't have that same
Thursday
feeling.
We're going to talk about women's sports because I think there is a misguided effort there. I really do. I think you guys. I think the reason why you guys struggle sometimes is because
I'm talking about soccer as a whole, but okay.
But I think that it's too polarizing. And but for soccer, okay, they don't appreciate you here, but you've got countries that do. Like I want to go to the countries where I'm appreciated.
All right,
we're moving on.
You don't get it.
I always get it.
Jesus, take the wheel. Thank you guys for joining us on the sports break. I'm sorry that you had to hear that and soccer. Ignorance, and I'm saying ignorance in the lack of knowledge, not in fact.
I'm not sensitive. I'm not a female soccer player. I'm not sensitive.
But again, happy Tuesday. On that note, thanks for joining us. Be sure to watch more of the Sports Break and our other shows on rvntv.tv. You can also follow us on Facebook. And, of course, we will see you back on Thursday. Apparently, we're talking about women's sports.
I do. I want to talk about women's sports.
We just might, because you know what? I think it's time that we really break it down.
I think we should have a guest and everything.
I'm Renee Washington. This is Kwame Fisher-Jones, and I will see you on Thursday.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that